In a city seemingly devoid of life, zombies loiter around a store. Among them, a figure drags a trident along the ground, ignored by the undead as he passes. He walks to the front of the store and opens it, revealing more zombies lurking within. As the figure's face comes into view, it shows a blank expression and unnaturally pale skin. Inside the store, he mutters incomprehensible words as he gathers rations. An inner thought prompts him that it's time to return, but then directs him to pause and take a can of Coke from the shelf. With the supplies in the bag, the figure leaves the store and walks past the zombies, seemingly unnoticed. After opening the can of Coke, a hooded figure expressed exhaustion as he gulped it down. He remarked on his significant improvement in controlling the zombies around him, glancing at the initial figure from earlier. Removing his hood, he introduced himself as Lingmo, a typical high school student. Lingmo recounted how a new epidemic had swept through the city half a month ago, turning countless humans into mindless zombies. Survivors were forced into hiding, scattered throughout the city like frightened mice. To his surprise, Lingmo discovered he could control these zombies. Through a peculiar connection, he manipulated them like puppets on strings, albeit ones devoid of thought. Initially challenging, mastering this control had led him into numerous life-threatening situations. But with persistence, he honed his skill, extending his control over a certain range. Confident in his abilities, Lingmo decided to venture further. He gazed at a picture, promising to find the person it depicted. Ordering the zombie to accompany him back to their temporary shelter, Lingmo planned to set out again the next morning, determined to fulfill his promise. In the bright morning light of their building, Lingmo snoozes in his room until his phone interrupts with a call from Yilian. Still groggy from sleep, Lingmo pondered, "Who is it?" Yilian's voice greeted him and questioned, "It's already afternoon and you still haven't woken up?" A blush crept onto Lingmo's cheeks as he realized the caller was Yilian. She then urged, "Hurry up, I'm on my way, and I just bought your favorite pork ribs to make for dinner." Expressing gratitude, Lingmo praised Yilian for being the best. Yilian chuckled at his response, instructing him again to hurry up and wash up first. With cheeks flushing with embarrassment, Lingmo confesses, "Yilian, I have something I've always wanted to tell you. It's that, could you be my..." He paused. However, before he can finish his sentence, Yilian agrees immediately, cutting him off mid-sentence. Startled by her swift acceptance, Lingmo asserted, "Hey, I haven't even finished what I wanted to say." In response, Yilian replied, "I am willing to be anyone you want me to be." Touched by her words, Lingmo voiced his affection. However, Yilian let out a sudden scream, cutting him off before he could utter the words. Alarmed, Lingmo immediately called out, "Yilian?" With urgency in her voice, Yilian instructed him to flee. Despite her warning, Lingmo persisted, desperately shouting her name into the phone, hoping for a response. Suddenly, Lingmo woke up from his dream, realizing that it was the scenery of the catastrophe that day. Staring at a picture of Yilian, Lingmo whispers her name. Internally, he cursed, "Damn it, I actually fell into such a deep sleep." Suddenly, a trembling figure pounces at him with a roar. As the shackled zombie tries to reach out, Lingmo realizes, the moment I loosen up my defense, the zombies slowly drift out of control. Good thing I locked it up before I slept yesterday. Regaining control of the zombie, Lingmo releases a sigh of relief as it calms down. He then ordered the zombie, "Unlock it, it's time to head out." In the city streets teeming with zombies, Lingmo sets his sights on a goal. After crossing this road, I'll reach Yilian's house. Surveying the scene, Lingmo realizes that with this amount of zombies, crossing over will be difficult. His attention is then drawn to a distant cry for help, echoed by the zombies' predatory gaze. A girl races past, chased by the relentless horde, while Lingmo and his zombie companions seek refuge behind a battered car. Seeing an opportunity, Lingmo seizes the moment. "Let's go." As he climbs into a nearby building, Lingmo observes the scene from below. Those two idiots. If you were to shout for help in a situation like this, you just end up getting more attention from the zombies. As the two shout for help, the gate shatters under the weight of the oncoming zombies, and the two unfortunate souls are quickly overrun. Lingmo watches the scene below with a cold stare, thinking, "I don't know why, but I don't feel any remorse when I see those two getting attacked by zombies. Instead, I somehow feel weird." He wondered, is this pleasure? Is it that my sense of humanity is affected by my connection with zombies? Pushing aside these troubling thoughts, Lingmo recognizes the necessity of his ability. I won't be able to find Yilian without the help of zombies. He then orders the zombie, "Go look around the street over there. Yilian's house is nearby, she shouldn't be able to go that far." The controlled undead blends in among the hordes of mindless walkers, following Lingmo's orders without question. As it progresses, the zombie halts abruptly in front of a shattered bus. Lingmo wonders, was there a car accident? I wonder what the situation of the passengers on the bus is. They have either been trapped or have already turned into zombies. He then instructs the zombie, "Let's go, keep walking forward." Suddenly, a realization strikes Lingmo as the zombie stares at the bus numbered 618. "Yilian always visits my home using bus 618. A shocked expression overtakes his face as he murmurs, "It can't be." Driven by a newfound urgency, Lingmo commands the zombie to investigate further. As the zombie obediently surveyed the interior of the bus, a chilling sight seized his attention. A lone figure with her back turned greeted his sight, causing Lingmo to shout out her name, Yilian. However, as the figure turned, her eyes bore into his with a feral intensity as she lunged at the zombie, devoid of the warmth he once knew. In a swift execution, Yilian mercilessly impaled the zombie in the chest, evoking shock and disbelief. "Yilian, how could this happen?" Lingmo shouted. As the zombie is sent flying, Lingmo comes to the realization, wait, it's as if Yilian has been zombified. As Yilian gripped the zombie by the neck, Lingmo concluded, this is bad. If the zombie gets killed, Yilian might go away. I've got to think, I can't let my hard work looking for her go to waste. Suddenly, a plan formed in his mind, right, I can first control of Yilian. A string of light emanated from the zombie, reaching out towards Yilian. His consciousness surged out of his body, and as he moved forward, he found himself gazing at a girl in front of him. This is Yilian's consciousness, he figured. As the string of light approached her dormant consciousness, her eyes blazed with a feral intensity, and with powerful force, Lingmo's consciousness was hurled back. She then shouted as she slammed the zombie to the ground, physically and mentally resisting. Lingmo realized that this was the first time someone had fought against his control, speculating that perhaps, buried deep within her, some fragment of consciousness still remained. Interesting, Lingmo mused, his mind racing with the possibilities of regaining Yilian's full consciousness, not wanting to give up on even a sliver of hope. Driven with guilt, Lingmo blamed himself for her current state, unleashing a barrage of luminous strings from his consciousness to hers, his resolve burning within him. Though most of the strings disintegrated under Yilian's resistance, one multicolored string persisted, reaching out to her consciousness. With Lingmo's control severed, the zombie slumped to the ground. Lingmo then breathed a sigh of relief, finally establishing a connection with Yilian. As Yilian stared at the zombie, Lingmo urged her to return. However, he then ordered her to wait, wondering if Yilian desired something from the zombie's brain. A smile crept onto his face, suggesting to give it a try. After reaching into the zombie's head and extracting a piece of red gel, Lingmo inquired if she wanted it. Noticing her eyes sparkling with anticipation and drooling mouth, Lingmo asked if she wanted to eat it. Hesitantly, he then gave her permission to eat it. In a seemingly sensual way, Yilian brought the gel to her mouth, prompting Lingmo's consciousness to experience an unfamiliar sensation of comfort. He realized that Yilian was replenishing her energy, her expression exuding extreme satisfaction. "This gel is amazing," Lingmo exclaimed, astonished by its effects. Turning his attention to Yilian, Lingmo gently held her face, acknowledging the pain she endured. Resting his head against hers, he vowed, "I will find a way to heal you." Amidst this, a red string encircled Lingmo's hand. Suddenly, Yilian's eyes turned aggressive, and with a forceful shove, she sent Lingmo crashing to the ground. "Yilian," he cried out, alarmed by her sudden hostility. As Yilian lunged at him, Lingmo realized that their connection was destabilizing. If this keeps up, Yilian will kill me, he realized, a surge of fear suddenly gripping him. Just as Yilian prepared to strike him with her sharp claws, Lingmo managed to regain control over her. That was too close, he breathed, relief flooding through him. Gathering himself, Lingmo instructed Yilian to follow him to a nearby clothing shop for her to clean up and change. As they hid behind a corner, Lingmo noticed Yilian trembling beside him, her killing intent palpable. Does she want the gel from the zombie's brains? Lingmo wondered. It seemed beneficial to her. Drawing his knife, Lingmo urged Yilian forward. "Go ahead, I'll follow," he said. With lightning speed, Yilian lunged at a nearby zombie, crashing it to the ground with a resounding boom. As Yilian fought fiercely against the zombies, Lingmo couldn't help but marvel at her strength. If I don't hurry and increase my skill level, I might lose control over Yilian very soon. Let's not even talk about healing her, I might even die at her hands. He continued to ponder, even if I were to survive luckily despite losing her, finding her in this big city would be as if finding a needle in a haystack. Joining the fray, Lingmo kicked a zombie in the head and swiftly threw a knife into another's skull, fighting alongside Yilian. Together, they made a formidable team, with Yilian using her claws to dispatch the undead while Lingmo wielded his knife with precision. As the battle drew to a close, Lingmo sheathed his knife, feeling a sense of relief. Observing Yilian consume the gels collected from the zombies, he remarked, "The use of these gels seems to be more interesting than I thought. Even my body feels healthier when Yilian absorbs them." Reflecting on the experience, Lingmo realized something profound. "What's more important," he mused, "is that even in the midst of battle, I didn't feel afraid. To think Yilian's innate wildness was able to influence me." As Lingmo browsed through the dresses in the clothing shop, he debated over which dress to choose. With a blush, a mischievous comment slipped from his lips, "There's even underwear." In the privacy of the bathroom, Lingmo dampened a cloth as he turned to Yilian, preparing to wash her. As he slowly undressed her, he struggled to suppress inappropriate thoughts, wrestling with his own desires. Despite this, he wondered if he could still consider himself human if he were to give in to temptation. Unexpectedly, the next morning arrived without our notice, and Lingmo woke up from his sleep. Startled to find Yilian unattended in front of him, he breathed a sigh of relief, realizing that the gel from the previous day had maintained their connection. However, noticing Yilian's grumbling stomach and hungry stare, Lingmo speculated, "It feels like Yilian is using telepathy to convey hunger." Acknowledging her need, Lingmo and Yilian ended up relentlessly fighting against the zombies, and the gels ended up being devoured by Yilian. But for some reason, Yilian's condition got worse, prompting Lingmo to carry her to safety in a nearby house. As Lingmo stood by Yilian's bedside, he gently manipulated the glowing string of light connecting them, sensing the mysterious energy gradually altering their bodies. With a worried expression, he contemplated, "This is a very serious condition. Yilian almost lost control several times. I have to be alert to prevent that from happening again." When Yilian finally stirred awake, Lingmo anxiously inquired about her well-being, only to receive silence in response. "Too bad, she still isn't conscious," he realized. However, he suddenly noticed a subtle improvement in her demeanor, her eyes no longer clouded with gloom. Drawing a conclusion from these changes, Lingmo speculated, "These changes to Yilian must be an evolution. Devouring of the same species to evolve oneself. This virus is not simple, I must be vigilant." As Lingmo tended to Yilian, he reflected on her condition, "At least people won't see you as a zombie anymore." Initially, he thought of hiding on the hills after finding Yilian, but if he were to do that, he concluded that Yilian may starve to death. "Looks like this zombie-filled city is the only pathway for us to grow," he figured. Surveying his inventory, Lingmo mentally catalogued their supplies, noting the dullness of his kitchen knife. A sudden realization struck him, "Wait, Wang Lin's family is reputed in making handmade swords." Recalling a girl from his past, he figured, Wang Lin's sword shop is just around the corner. That brat has the looks, which explains why she is so popular. He thought, even though she didn't turn into a zombie, it must have been hard for a girl that is so fragile and weak like her to survive. With determination, he resolved to visit the sword shop with Yilian in tow, seeking a weapon that would ensure their survival in the unforgiving cityscape. In a high, dilapidated room, a man peered through a monocular scope, scouting the area below, while a girl lounged nearby. "Get up, Wang Lin. Someone's approaching," the scout urgently addressed the girl. Taking the monocular scope, Wang Lin surveyed the scene below. "Who is it?" she inquired. "I don't know, but they seem to be survivors," the scout responded. Outside Wang's sword shop, Yilian and Lingmo stood, unaware of the watchful eyes above. Upon seeing Lingmo, Wang Lin couldn't shake a feeling of familiarity. Concerned, the scout suggested warning them about the dangers lurking in the shop. "How?" Wang Lin retorted. "Shouting will only attract more zombies." "But what if they take your swords?" the scout pressed. In response, she reassured him, "How can a normie understand swords? Besides, I hid it at the back of the store, it'd be a miracle if he found it." The scout agreed, acknowledging the miracle of survival in such harsh times. With a hint of resignation, Wang Lin reflected on the unpredictable nature of fate, acknowledging the role luck played in survival. Meanwhile, inside the building, Lingmo and Yilian navigated the dim corridors in search of the workshop. If I recall, the workshop is further in, Lingmo mused. Approaching a door, Lingmo concluded, this should be it. He reached for the knob, only to find it locked from the inside. Is anyone there? He wondered. Subsequently, the door was suddenly slammed into his face. Careful, he warned Yilian. A zombie's hand broke through the door, sending a chill down Lingmo's spine. Mutated zombies, he exclaimed, bracing for the imminent threat. With the zombies' roar echoing behind the broken door, Lingmo instinctively shielded Yilian from harm. After slashing the zombie's grasping hand, Lingmo kicked the door and pinned the creature beneath his weight. Die, he exclaimed as he raised his knife, only to be slammed against the wall by the formidable zombie. Grimacing at his aching shoulder, Lingmo marveled at the creature's strength. As the zombie closed in, Yilian sprang into action, swiftly turning it into a donut before it could comprehend the turn of events. In its attempt to retaliate, the zombie swung its arm, only to hit the wall with a strong bang. Observing the zombie's resilience, Lingmo readied himself for another confrontation. Circling the zombie with Yilian, Lingmo propelled himself above, impaling it through the head with a swift strike. Breathing a sigh of relief, Lingmo's hand brushed against another, sparking shock as he realized the multiple corpses around. This mutated zombie actually killed all these people? Lingmo questioned, shaken by the grim scene. Yilian, he called out as she retrieved a green gel from the creature's head. Hold on. Let me examine it first, Lingmo cautioned, inspecting the gel's freshness and vibrant color, indicative of a higher virus concentration. Recalling Yilian losing consciousness, Lingmo thought about finding some shelter first. If she were to pass out from eating this, I wouldn't be able to go anywhere too, he figures. Turning his focus to their immediate needs, Lingmo resolved to secure a reliable weapon, selecting a katana of superior quality from the array before him.